heading to the Riviera parking lot. Before we get down to the Las Vegas Strip, why don't we stop at a couple rundown buildings. This video is going to be about the Las Vegas ruins, buildings that are closed down and may never ever open up again. Whose fault is it? It's the banker's fault, of course. This building here is an old K-mart. It's been empty for over 10 years. First there was the dot-com bubble, and then there was the housing bubble, and then you have empty buildings that the bankers are hoarding. Yes, we're blaming the bubbles on the bankers, and we're going to blame the bust on the bankers also. The Great Depression was so long ago that many of those people were gone, and people forgot how much damage the bankers can do. So I am going to show you the ruins of Las Vegas that are scattered all over the Las Vegas Valley. Many buildings like this scattered all over the Las Vegas Valley. Buildings that are hoarded by the bankers. They do not want to liquidate because the government will give them free money. Why would the bankers liquidate an eyesore like this if the governments are just going to give them free money? The bankers are evil. This is what happens to your community when you let bankers be your master. This building, you could easily have a dance studio here. You could easily have a karate studio, a martial arts center, a mom and pop joint. All you have to do is sell the building cheap, and the owner could rent these spots out to mom and pop joints at a very, very reasonable low rent. And then you would have a mom and pop store that could give the community some value. So from Rainbow and Spring Mountain, we head over to Tropicana Avenue by the Orleans. The Orleans Casino right across the street. Again, if you want evidence of what bankers can do to a community, this is the evidence you need. When Alan Greenspan and the Federal Reserve, when they pumped the system full of money, everybody thought we were in heaven. So you go ahead and tear down a bustling car dealership and you say, okay, I'm going to build a high-rise here. And then they take the money away from you like a rug, like they pull the rug out from under your feet, and they say, okay, the money is no longer there. We can no longer lend you the money, so you're not going to build a high-rise here. But it's too late. The car dealership already shut down. So yes, this is evidence of what bankers can do to your community if you let them. Businesses that were successful will shut down because of misallocated assets. That's what we're talking here, misallocated assets. Yes, let's put $1 billion into a high-rise. The bankers will give us the money. The Zionist bankers will give us the money, and we'll build a high-rise here. Well, until they change their mind, of course. And then once the bankers change their mind, the dealership is gone and you're left with this. This is what you're left with. Quite frankly, is an eyesore. So you say, why doesn't anybody buy it? Why doesn't an entrepreneur come in and buy the place and open up? Well, because the bankers don't want to get rid of it. The bankers own it. They took it in on foreclosure, but they need a higher price. So what they're going to do is inflate and inflate and inflate. And 10 years from now, when the price goes up, they'll sell it. It's a crooked system run by bankers. Okay, so now we're driving on Las Vegas Boulevard. Remember, we're heading to what used to be the Riviera Hotel and Casino. That is now a parking lot. That's the main story today. We're going to head over to the Riviera, which is now a parking lot. To your left here, this is where the Stardust used to be. The Stardust Hotel and Casino. Of course, they ripped the Stardust down. They imploded and tore down the Stardust Casino. The new project ran out of money. There it is, an empty shell. So here we are, we're across the street from where the Riviera used to be. The big blue skyscraper, that is the Fontainebleau. It's also empty, abandoned building. So today we focus on the rundown, closed down, abandoned buildings, the ruins of Las Vegas, Nevada. Right there, across the street, that's where the Riviera used to be. 60 years of Las Vegas legends and traditions and history, and now it's been reduced down to a parking lot. Let's walk across the street. Here we are at the Riviera parking lot. There is the Fontainebleau. It's a $3 billion eyesore that Carl Icahn bought. Again, that's where the Riviera used to stand. It's been reduced to a parking lot. Here's another angle across from the Circus Circus. We're standing in front of the Circus Circus, and there is the $3 billion Fontainebleau. This is what happens when bankers blow up bubbles. There it is. The economy collapsed, and it's an empty shell. It's an eyesore. They paid $3 billion for that skyscraper. Carl Icahn picked it up for pennies on the dollar, and then he emptied it out. Here we are. This is the parking lot. At the gate, there is no plaque. There is no sign that says the Riviera once stood here. Take a good look, because the Las Vegas Convention Authority, they paid $182 million. Again, the Las Vegas Convention Authority paid $182 million to tear down the Riviera and make it a parking lot. Try to wrap your mind around that. The empty shell of a Fontainebleau across the street. So the Las Vegas Convention Center, they call it the Diamond Lot. Quite frankly, I'd much rather have the Riviera back. I think Las Vegas has enough parking lot. $182 million parking lot across the street from the Fontainebleau. $3 billion eyesore. The diamond lot. Whoopee! Whoopee! That empty shell of a building there, well, that's where the Stardust used to be. They tore the Stardust down completely, and then they started a new project and ran out of money. There it sits. So now we cross the street and get a close-up of the Fontainebleau. Remember, the original builders borrowed $3 billion to build this eyesore. When the housing bubble collapsed, they ran out of money. They could not finish it. Carl Icahn picked it up for pennies on the dollar, and he still cannot find a buyer. So here we are, a close-up of the Fontainebleau. The dust permit expired a few years ago. And now we're back over to the other side of the Las Vegas Boulevard. We're back over to where the Stardust used to be. So I'll leave you here where the Stardust used to be. How you doing?
How's it going?
When are they gonna start building?
Nobody knows.
They're still working on it, huh?
Couldn't tell you.
But there's no signs of activity yet, is there?
Not that I know of.
Well, thank you.